YouTube, jthomas1310, coming with you with another motovlog. So I'm out on my favourite road. Unfortunately it's been stuck behind a learner and another slow car, but I was going to sort of talk about some cornering techniques and riding techniques, so it'd probably be good just to be a little bit slower behind them at the moment as I go over a few things. So one thing a lot of riders do is actually not realise how they actually are riding when they're learning, and then don't have the proper riding position and technique to be able to ride a lot more effective and improve their skills at riding. So the first thing is always to ensure that you're actually sitting on the bike in a sort of a loose but firm position, with your knees on and around the wrap of the tank. So sitting back in the seat, loosen the arms, no depth grip. That's a terrible thing. If you're noticing that your hands are getting numb after a ride, you're hanging on too long. Most people tend to blame their gloves, but it's not always the gloves. You'll find maybe just in the fingers you might feel a bit of numbness if your gloves are either too tight or probably too big. So you tend to get some of the folds actually sit against your finger and sort of give you pins and needles, but generally you're just sitting comfortably, nice and loose. So then any bumps you hit, you won't actually be bounced with the bike. So one thing I always do, and since I don't have the helmet cam, you always look into the corner. You wouldn't notice that I'm doing that now, but if you do just go around for an easy ride, actually just look into the corners without actually thinking about turning the bike, you'll notice you'll actually will head off into the corner. So you always look at your apex and then look for your exits. Always look at it in the horizon as it's appearing, so you can judge a lot of sharper corners which you've never seen before. So you can navigate a few corners just by simply looking into the next corner if you're coming up onto a bend leading from another bend. So other technique is, as you're turning, use your counter steering. So you're putting pressure onto the handlebar, so lean or push left as if you're turning the bike right, like when you're on your push bike as a kid with the training wheels, and then the bike will actually turn left. So with this, you just keep firm, lean with the bike. If you're getting into steeper corners where you're doing a bit more speed, you can hang off the bike. But before you start looking at hanging off the bike, it's actually a lot better just to get control of your normal cornering technique. So as you're getting into the corner, if you're coming up with speed, do your braking, as the inertia has put most of the weight to the back of the bike under acceleration, which is why that as you do a wheel stand, from taking off too quick, it's pushing all the weight into the back of the bike. So brake hard. Good way to do is finish any shifting prior, get the revs up high into the corner, as you will need to accelerate through the corner. So you need to keep the bike in its prime operating position, which is dead flat. So even weight on the back and the front, so you get good grip on the tyres. So on the brakes, and then you roll in the throttle through a corner. It's a little bit of a slow corner to do this, but I don't really notice the effects too much, but it plays a part in all corners no matter what speed. It's not until you're going slow and manoeuvring in a car park that it changes how the bike actually is used. But we might back off a little bit and do a few quicker corners. I've lost my favourite corners, but because of these guys I'll have to fly back through later. Look out for potholes like that. If that was on the camera. But you turn late into the corner, so you come out wide, take it as late as possible, look through the apex, roll through with the accelerator. So I'll try it again, we'll come in a bit quicker. Brake, turn as late as possible, accelerate through the corner. So So that way you can get some good corners. We've got a good one come up here, which I might do. Once you got that technique done, if you're deciding to hang off the bike, all you need to do is just shuffle your bum across. Just one cheek on, one cheek off. There we go, they've peeled off. So all you do is get ready for the corner as you're learning. You shift off, you need to keep your body parallel. So we'll get some speed up, thumbs off, brake in. You want to try and bite the elbow. And it's a nice smooth corner. I wasn't hanging off the bike much there. Nowhere to the point that the knee would be down. You don't just turn on your bike using your get around these guys. Now I'm playing these corners. So a lot of newbies see MotoGP, they'll turn every corner or sticking the knee out and actually still remain upright on the bike. It's not needed, it doesn't do anything. You need your knees to actually keep you on the bike. So they're meant to be tucked in around the tank. And then when you're actually hanging off, it's your outside leg that will actually keep you on. You get your boot in a nice position so that you can push back on the peg to stand the bike up. And then you go on your inside leg, toes on the peg, so you're not going to be scraping your foot along the ground. And as you slide across and then hanging parallel off the tank, trying to get your chin to your hand, you'll actually should be sitting nice and straight and parallel. There's no more real corners for me to explain on now. Might be a couple of little ones. Brake in, turn late. Didn't have to hang for it, but one of the best ideas, if you got someone out riding with you that knows the hanging off positions, they can always a good way to let you know where you're sitting. When you first start, you do realise that you think you're hanging off and you should be dragging your knee, but really you're actually nowhere near. It feels a lot scarier at first than what it really is, and it wasn't until I actually started trying to learn and started filming, you actually notice, hang on, I'm barely actually off the bike. But the whole purpose of hanging off is just to be able to take faster corners without the need of having to lean the bike too far. So you're optimising the grip on the tyre. So the momentum of you hanging off the bike is actually keeping the weight down on the side to keep the bike on with fullest grip that the tyres can get. Don't go out and cornering like that when you're early in the morning and the roads are cold. Tyres are cold. It's probably a bit dewy, greasy. Some decent corners up here, I think. Haven't been here for a little while. That was part of my favourite road. So just accelerate through the corner, hit the apex, and come out. The worst thing is if your levers are stiff, getting off the bloody bike's a bit hard too. I think there's too many corners, but the best thing is practice. Get yourself a cheap camera. If you haven't got a camera, film yourself. Find some big safe roundabouts, car parks, set up a camera, watch yourself going around circles. It's all great ways to practice. But before getting off the bike, ensure you got your normal cornering right. So it's not necessary to hang off. A little bit of hang just to go through some fast corners, but if you like me here in Australia, most of our roads, the way that they're actually tapered off, there's not many roads that you will actually get your knee down. Most corners are usually a bank, and then the road actually leans off, so as you're going through the apex, if you're getting your knee down, you're probably going to low side the bike, and your knee be bloody dragging in the dirt on the side of the road. So track days would probably be the safest way to go out and learn. Might be able to do a little bit on a roundabout here. But other than that, I think we've covered most of it. If there's any other comments you'd like to mention. Feel free to leave it. Any other hints or tips, be sure to mention it. I'll go right round here. And we'll head for this roundabout with a slower speed one. YouTube, thanks for tuning in. I do urge, if you have not seen the film Twist of the Wrist, get out there and see it. It covers a lot of those techniques and more. I think last I saw it, I watched it free on YouTube. Get out there and see it. When you're out on your bike, stay safe, keep the rubber side down. Catch us later.